Welcome to My Long Island TV. From Manhasset to Montauk, we have traveled our communities to bring you the following events. I'm your host, Waldo Cabrera. My Long Island TV starts now.
This is the Social Justice and Diversity Summit. The event is being sponsored by the SUNY Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. That office, along with Farmingdale State College, has really made a lot of efforts in recent years to make sure that our students, our community, our faculty, our staff know that this is a campus, that SUNY is an institution that prioritizes diversity. One of the things that we wanted to do was invite people from the community, people from activist organizations, staff, again, faculty, to really have a diverse community of people come together and have a dialogue about how we can foster social change together.
When you're talking about segregation, you have to start with housing, because we have a long history of housing segregation, which continues today, and that housing segregation then has an impact on your public school segregation. Also, there's a lot of research that talks about the connection between where you live and your health.
There are gay people who don't call themselves gay. There are gay people who don't want to talk about it. There are gay people who want to talk only about that. The LGBT community is an area that people who are concerned about diversity in the United States often don't think very much about, because they think, well, we're already moving forward, advances are being made, and yet there's an awful lot yet to do, including the diversity within the gay community, which is something that a lot of people don't realize, including the people in the gay community themselves.
The price for an adolescent female modern-day slave is far lower than it was in the mid-19th century slavery.
The big answer is that any girl could be potentially a victim of human trafficking, but a lot of times traffickers will prey on young girls who maybe are in foster care situations or in special needs, young girls who have low self-esteem. You know, it's a $32 billion a year business. And what makes it so profitable is that a young girl or a woman can be sold over and over again, unlike drugs where you sell it once and it's done, it's gone.
What I was waiting to hear was what's being said in black families about the Hispanics, and then what's being said in the white families about everybody. And that's what we have to talk about.
When we start working in underserved communities and try to make sure kids get what they need, we keep on running up against other broader civic issues. When we are trying to make sure all children start school on time, we find out that many are not, because they don't have the paperwork they need to substantiate residency. And that's because we have a housing crisis, and there's 4 or 5 families living in one home, and there's sub-landlords, and very hard to get the paperwork that satisfies the school requirements.
Regulations, policies, or government or corporate decisions that deliberately target communities of color in low-income neighborhoods for what we call LULUs, which are locally undesirable land uses.
I teach a course in segregation at Syracuse University, and we talk about the different methods that are there. There's redlining, there was racial violence. People of color live in certain places, and more affluent people and generally white people live in other neighborhoods and are unwilling to allow other people to live in. Because even if people begin to move, if people of color begin to move in the neighborhood, then you would have white flight.
I think we are making steps towards making a difference. And the one thing I'd like to stress is that it's never finished. So the steps that we make only teach us the next steps that we need to take.